For more than 3 decades, Johnny Carson sat behind the desk of The Tonight Show, appearing calm, polished, and unshakable. Millions of viewers saw a man in complete control. What they never saw was the private nightmare unfolding just inches away from him. Night after night, Carson was forced to share intimate space with some of Hollywood's most unhygienic personalities, enduring odors, smoke, sweat, and bodily discomfort that would have driven most people to walk off the set. Yet, he never broke character. The environment itself was brutal. During the 1960s and 1970s, the NBC studios were engulfed in thick cigarette smoke. Celebrities chain-smoked before taping, during rehearsals, and sometimes even on camera. Former NBC staff later described the studio as a toxic cloud where nicotine-coated furniture, microphones, and clothing. For Johnny Carson, a known germ-conscious perfectionist, the conditions were torture, disguised as glamour. Some guests made the situation far worse. Bette Davis, a frequent guest, left behind what crew members secretly called the Davis Cloud, a powerful mix of cigarettes, heavy perfume, and alcohol-soaked breath. After her appearances, industrial fans were used to clear the air. Staff said her presence lingered so strongly that guests could tell she'd been there long after she left, as if her ghost haunted the set of The Tonight Show. Then there was Dean Martin, whose legendary drinking habits created a whole new level of discomfort. By the time he reached the couch, alcohol wasn't just on his breath. It seemed to seep from his skin. Carson once admitted privately that sitting next to Martin felt like being hit by a wave of fumes. After such interviews, Johnny would rush to his dressing room to aggressively gargle mouthwash, convinced he could still taste the smoke and alcohol. The breaking point nearly came in 1974 with George Segal, a relentless smoker. During a commercial break, Carson discreetly vomited from the intensity of the smoke surrounding him. That night, Carson issued the only ultimatum of his career. Either Segal stopped smoking, or Johnny would leave the set. Viewers never noticed anything wrong. But behind the desk, Carson's white-knuckled grip revealed the strain he was hiding. Comedy legend Buddy Hackett presented a different kind of nightmare. Known for explosive humor and boundless energy, Hackett suffered from extreme hypersalivation. Crew members referred to the area around him as the splash zone. Johnny developed defensive postures to subtly lean away, and wardrobe even treated Carson's suits with water-resistant coatings. After one particularly wet appearance, Carson bolted off set and showered before continuing the show. Eventually, the famous Tonight Show couch upholstery had to be replaced. In 1977, R.I.P. Taylor delivered what many staff still call the most physically disturbing appearance in show history. Under the hot lights, Taylor sweat so intensely that his clothing visibly darkened on camera. At one point, his movement sent droplets flying through the air. During the break, towels and sanitizer were rushed in, and the guest chair had to be blotted dry. Carson later quietly requested increased distance from similarly moist guests. Even respected geniuses caused issues. Orson Welles, by the 1970s, generated what crew called a human furnace. Studio temperatures measurably increased near him. Industrial fans were deployed off-camera, and after one disastrous summer taping, The chair Wells used was removed and replaced. Still, Carson continued to welcome him, believing true talent was worth discomfort. Perhaps the most chemically overwhelming guest was Truman Capote. By the late 1970s, Capote's hygiene had deteriorated badly. Heavy cologne layered over days of drinking created an unbearable stench. Carson subtly shifted farther away as interviews progressed, even changing jackets during one episode, convinced the smell had transferred onto his clothing. Nothing compared to Charles Bukowski. His infamous appearance triggered internal discussions about hazardous working conditions. Staff documented layers of body odor and unwashed clothing. Carson briefly flinched upon meeting him, then endured the interview while battling nausea. Afterward, Carson suffered a severe migraine, requiring medical treatment. The chair Bukowski sat in was permanently removed from the Tonight Show set. Through it all, Johnny Carson never complained on air. His professionalism masked discomfort, nausea, and exhaustion. Behind the laughter was sacrifice. The price of greatness, it turns out, sometimes smelled terrible. But Carson paid it night after night so the show could go on.